Yo, good afternoon. Hey, we're talking about the Phoenix metro area today. For out-of-state buyers, just kind of a quick one, nothing too fancy or major, but I just wanted to give a little insight about the Phoenix metro area based on actually a current buyer that we're working with that is potentially going to be in contract, hopefully by this afternoon, actually. But there's a story, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is there's a perspective out there, and it kind of ties with national news and so forth. But before I get into that, do me a favor, please hit like and subscribe to my channel. It helps my algorithm get pushed out to people that are interested in some real estate real estate information about the Phoenix metro area. There's plenty of people out there that would love to hear more about what's going on here, and it's a good one because honestly, I think the perception of the Phoenix metro market is kind of skewed. And let me tell you why I think it's skewed. I think that there's obviously, I don't turn on the TV and watch news very much, and mostly just because it hurts my brain. And, I'm already busy enough as it is, as an agent and running a team and having agents underneath us, and then being a killer father to my 3-year-old son. And spending time with him and managing all those things. I really just don't have a lot of time to watch news. But when I'm driving around, I do catch up on YouTube, actually quite a bit, playing in the background. And so I can kind of hear what's going on. And there's a lot of chatter that the real estate market is in shambles. It's challenging, and interest rates are high. And so if you're sitting in New Jersey, or you're sitting in Canada or another country, and you're watching news regarding the United States, or you're in San Francisco, I don't care where you are, there's not a lot of positive conversations going on about the real estate market in terms of positive indicators, right? So people think that they're like, oh, well, that must equate to Phoenix or Dallas or San Fran or New York or whatever, right? They just think that's the whole, right? That's not the case, okay? Phoenix, if you guys don't know, it's the 5th largest city in the entire United States and constitutes the landmass of over 14,000 square miles. It's one of the largest landmass cities in the entire country, okay? So that's a wide spread of land to cover. There's over 20 incorporated cities in the Phoenix metro area. So when somebody says, I want to move to Phoenix, my question is, where? Do you want to move to Queen Creek? Do you want to move to Anthem? Do you want to move to Verrado, Buckeye, Litchfield Park? Do you want to live in Scottsdale? Do you want to live in Paradise Valley? Do you want to live in Willow, in Canto? Do you want to live in South Mountain? Do you want to live in Ahwatukee? So the list goes on and on and on, right? So, and this covers like last night I was showing a property. Here's a great example, okay? We live in North Phoenix. We have a ranch for sale down in Queen Creek right now, okay? I kid you not, no traffic. Took me an hour and 20 minutes to get from my house down to the ranch in South Queen Creek, okay? That's just the spread upon, the market, right? So I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area when I was a kid. To us, everything was an hour. Like, we lived in Walnut Creek, and like we thought, going to San Francisco was like an adventure, right? That's like people's everyday commute going to and from San Francisco from the East Bay, right? Same with Phoenix. We got people that live in North Phoenix and commute down to Chandler and vice versa and all across the valley. So just understand that when you're thinking about moving to the Phoenix metro area, it's a large, populous area, okay? Somebody could say, I want to live in Scottsdale. Well, Scottsdale is over 30 miles long, north to south, right? You want to live in North Scottsdale? You want to live in Mid Scottsdale? Do you want to live in South Scottsdale, which is North Tempe? So a lot of things to talk about. But what I will say is that the perception is that somehow the Phoenix market is slow, and like the rest of the national news headlines, right? There are pockets in this valley that are indeed slow. Typically, the outskirts tend to fare a little bit on the slower side, but those developing areas are gaining momentum. I kid you not. We had a buyer that was coming from California a few months ago, and they wanted a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath house with a pool, single story, and they wanted to spend around $600,000. Okay, I'm not going to laugh, but any agent that's watching this is already going to know where this is going. That is probably one of the most competitive price points, and I don't care whether you're shopping in Peoria or whether you're shopping in Chandler or Gilbert or Anthem or Buckeye, that is a popular price point. That is a popular house matrix. Oh, and he wanted a 3-car garage too. They had to have a 3-car garage. That kind of pushed it over the edge. Well, almost 35 homes later, we finally ended up in contract with him, and he was pretty well frustrated because he was, we'd go tour houses in Peoria, and we would go a week touring houses and then another week touring houses. And the previous week, I would get probably 3 or 4 messages from agents going, "Hey, you showed our house. We've got offers on it. Is your client still interested?" That happened, if I showed 10 houses, 4 or 5 of them were like that the following week. And my buyer was starting to get frustrated. He's like, "I don't understand. This is ridiculous. Like, when I was, our house is on the market in California for X amount, and we're looking at Arizona because we felt like Arizona represented a great deal for us." And while it is in so many regards, there's still a lot of people moving to Arizona. There's still 95,000, arguably, plus another 5,000 moving to Arizona on an annual basis. This has not changed in my entire time of being in Arizona. So I moved here in 2004. So I've been in Arizona. I've been in the Phoenix metro market for 22 years now. I have stepped foot in probably over 4,000 homes in this valley. It's a lot of homes. That doesn't mean that I've sold 4,000 homes. So don't anybody get puckered when they see this video. I'm not going to be that agent that claims that ridiculously stupid off-base number. That's not the case. We do our fair share of business. I'm very grateful for what we do. We're blessed. We work with a lot of clients. We work with a lot of buyers. We work with a lot of sellers. And my agents are continuing to grow as well too. So, I can't complain. But we've worked very hard to get to this place. We've put a lot of time and energy into marketing and so forth. But understand that as you're coming to Phoenix, there's a lot of great things about this state. It's why I moved down here too. I love the fact that, yes, it's hot in the summer. Okay. I get it, but guess what? It's only for really about 2.5 months, 3 months tops, right? Then you start getting some more comfortable nighttime temperatures, and the mountain biking around here is great. The hiking is phenomenal. My wife and I, we live in the Lookout Mountain, Moon Valley area, which is surrounded by Lookout Mountain, Shadow Mountain, North Mountain, and Moon Mountain. So literally at our fingertips, right out our back door, well, we can drive our car there, but like within 5 minutes, I can get to 4 or 5 amazing trailheads and go hike for 2 to 3 hours around the mountains. Drive down the hill a little bit. There's Piestewa Peak as well, right off 51. There's that whole valley area, the Dreamy Draw area where I mountain bike through. And then if you're sick of the heat in the summertime, guess what? Go north or go out to Alpine. It's 50 degrees at night or 45 degrees at night in the middle of summer and 70 degrees during the daytime, and flowers are blooming everywhere. But there's no shortage of paddleboarding, wakeboarding, kayaking, mountain biking. The outdoor activities in Arizona are just amazing. I love it. You can go tubing down the Salt River, horseback riding in Sedona, Jeep trails, you name it. You want to go 4-wheel drive, you want to play in the desert, have a great time, go camping in dispersed areas. We do it all. My wife and I are big, avid campers. I could give you pointers and tips on all sorts of different great areas around the state to go camping, and fun little burger joints in little old Western towns. But I love the Phoenix metro area. It's fantastic, but it is a very big city. So it's very important that when you're interviewing agents for the job of helping you relocate, that these agents understand not only the Phoenix metro market, but you ought to have a good basis of understanding for the entire state. We have agents up in northern Arizona. We have agents down in the Tucson area. So if there's for some reason, my client that's coming from out of state says, "Hey, Steven, we're really interested in Tucson." Guess what? I'm going to turn you on to our agent down in Tucson. She's phenomenal. She's going to walk you through the process and make it an outstanding experience and show you all the things that you want to know about Tucson, so forth, yada, yada. We do the same thing. We take our out-of-state buyers very seriously. In fact, I would say that well over half of our buyers are out-of-state or even out-of-country buyers for that matter. The story that I had for you guys about the out-of-state buyers that I mentioned in the beginning, they're actually out-of-country. Half their family lives here, half of them live in another country. It is what it is. The other half that lives in the other country that we're going to be in contract with, hopefully by this afternoon, that side of the family we had to have a conference call yesterday because they had a little bit of a a disconnect and a misunderstanding perhaps of why trying to buy a home at a certain price point in Arcadia was representing some difficulty. And I said, well, the first operative word was Arcadia. Arcadia is arguably one of the most competitive submarkets of the Phoenix metro area. It is a lovely, modern, boutique-y kind of community that is nestled just south of Camelback Mountain. It's central to a lot of wonderful restaurants, great active lifestyle. You've got the canal that runs through there. Many people run and hike the canal that spans across the valley. Just a lot of really positive, fun, boutique-y, urban, fun things to do in the Arcadia area. And a lot of the homes there are very, very expensive. So I had to explain to the family that the other half of the family that's here in Arizona that was the motivation for buying this property was having to explain to the other half of the family why the contract is presenting a little bit of a challenge, why trying to get an offer accepted is a bit of a challenge because it's a competitive market. So I had to have a conference call with the family and explain to them, the stats and the appreciation rate, the growth rate of Arcadia, and why it is such a popular, sought after area to live. So that said, we walked them through it. I was able to help them understand the competitive nature, help set them up for success mentally so that they know how to position themselves as buyers to recognize and see the best deals within the current market conditions and the various differences between certain pockets of Arcadia and why some are a little bit more valuable than perhaps maybe others. And we walked through those dynamics together. Now, if you're an out-of-state buyer and you're considering moving to Arizona and you are thinking about hiring an agent and you want somebody that can thoughtfully and articulately break down the data of each neighborhood and sub-pocket of the Phoenix metro areas, give us a call. Happy to have a chat with you about it. Please hit like and subscribe. Again, it helps my algorithm get pushed out to other people that are interested in this type of information. Our goal is to help you guys make the best possible decisions. I usually will take out-of-state buyers. It is not uncommon for me to take them around areas that they have initially identified as places they may want to live. And then in the process of driving them around the valley in order to get to these different areas, I basically act like a tour guide. I show them and talk to them about all the different nooks and crannies of different areas, between Waddell and maybe perhaps near over by Talking Stick, and what different neighborhoods, on two different sides of the valley constitute. Why are there Air Force jets flying around in the West Valley? What does that mean? And where's their flight path? What does Sun City mean for folks in the 55 up communities? I want to raise my kid, and it's really important that we have many soccer fields around us and so forth. And where's that? What type of communities can we find that have a lot of greenbelt areas? We can cover all of that. We can help you guys sift through that and give you extensive data and enough research for you guys to make really thoughtful decisions when it comes to relocating to Arizona. And in addition to that, I'm going to add another point in here. We have proven over the past handful of years, and I'm not saying that we get this right every time, but 9 times out of 10, we have been able to actually get folks closing escrow in another state and closing escrow same day in the state here in Arizona, with a moving truck, sitting practically on the doorstep, and achieved that, threading the arrow through the eye of the needle on closings in that regard. Doesn't always happen, but we're very good at working with title companies in other states and coordinating that timing and making sure that funds are transferred appropriately in the timing manner. We bird dog those issues to make sure that there is not any mistakes or balls dropped. I take that very seriously. It is why in so many respects we get 5-star Google reviews. I love that. I love making people happy. It's, when you're shopping for services, when if I need a doctor, I want a good doctor. If I need a lawyer, I I want a good lawyer and I'm going to pay good money for it. You want a good real estate agent? Pay them what they're worth. These people are managing the details of possibly one of your largest personal assets. You better make sure you hire a hire a darn good agent. Give us a call. Happy to chat. It's again Stephen Ensign. I'm the owner of the S&J Real Estate Team, along with my wife Jessica. We've got a lot of agents underneath us as well. We're at W&Partners, huge brokerage. Love to chat with you guys. I'm always here to take calls, requests. You guys have a topic you want me to discuss, rant about. Love to hear it. I'm big on rocking the boat. Have a great day, guys. Looking forward to hearing from you. Thanks so much.